Welcome to another section of our class. This is Module 5, and in this module, we'll be looking at building career as a mental health therapist. So, I believe we are all aware that this is the 5th video for this course, and we still have another additional 5 more videos. And for this module, we will be looking at building career as a therapist, as a medical health therapist, where we'll be looking at the necessary requirements before you can be called a normal therapist, a therapist. What are those things that the therapist needs to do, that he or she should possess, and how to go about becoming a mental health therapist. And we have the contents of the module to be: firstly, we'll be looking at the concept of therapy and therapist. Then after that, we'll move on to core mental health therapist. And then we'll also be looking at the necessary skills of a therapist. We'll also look at roles of a therapist, responsibilities of a therapist, the key do's and in mental health management, and key don'ts in mental. That is, we'll also be looking at the do's and don'ts in mental health management additionally. So we have the introduction that building career as a mental health therapist, it does nothing but offers a profoundly rewarding part in helping individuals to navigate life's challenges, to cope with mental health issues, and also foster emotional well-being. So this is just like a benefiting part in which or a helping part, trying to help individuals to navigate the pressures of life and the challenges they are passing through, and also to foster emotional well-being. So a therapist in this context can be seen as a trained individual or a trained professional who provide psychotherapy and support to clients that are dealing with mental health concerns like anxiety, depression, that we've been able to establish in our previous module. So a therapist is, as it is said in this module, is a professional, a trained professional that is there to provide support and psychotherapy to different clients that are dealing with one mental health issue or the other. So to excel, a therapist needs key skills. Those are the basic skills that is needed by a therapist, like active listening, empathy, effective communication, critical thinking, and cultural sensitivity. So these are the major skills that we believe that an excellent a good therapist should possess. So now let's move on to who a therapist is now fully. So in everyday language, in our normal day-to-day language, a therapy is basically a way to treat or help with problems that is related to your health, whether it is the body, mind, or emotions. So it could mean talking to someone, expressing your mind to someone to sort out stress or worries, or doing exercises to fix an injury. Especially, it's about getting support to feel better. Like, it is all about getting support. It's all about everything about therapy revolves around support. So the support that you might be getting might now be mostly emotionally or physically in terms of exercise and all. So in academic and professional context, therapy that is often specified as psychotherapy is defined as a collaborative process involving structured interactions between a client and a trained professional to assess, to diagnose, and treat emotional, psychological, or behavioral dysfunctions. Therapy aims to modify thoughts, to modify feelings and behaviors through evidence-based techniques to promote mental well-being and functional improvement. So now, we have been able to justify the meaning of therapy. So now, who is a therapist now? And in doing this, we'll be analyzing or bringing us closer to who a therapist is. A therapist can be simply defined as a trained person or individual who provides that help or treatment. As I was saying when we were trying to justify therapy, that therapy has to do, it all revolves around getting support. So now the individual or the trained person that offer or provide this help is who we refer to as therapists. They are like a professional guide who listens, who advises and uses specific techniques to assist with issues, such as a counselor for mental health or a physical therapist for rehab. So, from a scholarly point of view, now, a therapist is a licensed or certified professional possessing the knowledge, the skills, and interpersonal competencies to deliver therapeutic interventions effectively. This includes building a trusting relationship, applying specific treatment modalities, and also adapting to clients' needs to achieve desired outcomes, with competence measured by their ability to implement treatments to a standard that yields expected effects. So this is a more thorough definition of a more detailed definition of therapy. Sorry. Now let's look at the different types of therapists that we have. We have the core mental health therapists that we have. We have the psychiatrist, we have the psychologist, we have the licensed professional counselor, that's LPC, or the licensed mental health counselor, which is LMHC. So let's pick it one after the other now. Psychiatrist. Who is a psychiatrist? A psychiatrist can be referred to as a medical doctor, MD or DO, who specializes in diagnosing and treating mental health disorders, often through medication management alongside therapy also. So now we also moving on to the second type, which is the psychologist. A psychologist holds they hold a doctorate degree, PhD or PsyD in psychology, and they provide talk therapy, assessments and treatments for mental health conditions. Licensed clinical social worker, LCSW, they can diagnose and provide counseling in clinical settings. So now the licensed professional counselor now, this requires a master's degree in counseling. They are there to provide general mental health therapy, focusing on coping strategies, emotional regulation, and personal development. Now we'll be looking at the skills, the major skills, the necessary skills that is needed from a therapist. Skills of a therapist. Now, therapists, particularly in the mental health field, they play a crucial role in supporting individuals through emotional, psychological, and relational challenges. And below are there some necessary skills that is some major skills or basic skills that is primarily necessary and important, significant also to a therapist, that a therapist must possess, in short. So we have interpersonal skills. This is the form. These skills form the bedrock of therapy, as they enable therapists to connect deeply with clients and create a safe, non-judgmental space for exploration. The types of these skills include active listening, empathy, and compassion. A good therapist must have the skills to actively listen to the clients without judging. That's why we said they try to create a safe and non-judgmental space for the clients in order to explore and in order to achieve their aim. So now they should also have this empathy and compassion in them. Those are one of the major skills of a therapist. And another one is the cognitive and analytical skills. A good therapy must think critically, must be a good thinker, a critical thinker, in order to assess situations, formulate interventions, and also guide clients towards solutions. The types under these skills, under cognitive and analytical skills, we have types to be critical thinking and problem solving, emotional intelligence or EQ. These are the major things that major skills that a good therapist should possess. The ability to think critically. A good therapist must be problem solving individual and also must be emotionally intelligent. So let's move on to the roles of a therapist. Now, therapists, as we have been saying since the beginning of this module, they serve as guides, they serve as facilitators and advocates in the therapeutic process. And their overarching roles include the following. One, we have assessment and diagnosis. We have evaluating and figuring out what's going on. And we have delivering the actual therapy. So under assessment and diagnosis, We have it that therapists, they should conduct initial evaluations to understand a client's mental health status. We can't just, as a therapist, can just go on with health process without conducting a proper assessment and diagnosis in order to know the level at which the client is, or the patient is at, or the or to in order to assess, to have full knowledge about the mental health status of the client or patient. And after that, another role of a therapist is to evaluate and figure out, that is evaluating and figuring out what is going on. So right off the bat, therapists dive into assessment in order to get the full picture of someone's mental state. And the next one is delivering the actual therapy. And this is the core running sessions where people unpack their thoughts and feelings. And now let's move on to the responsibilities of a therapist. What are those responsibilities of a therapist? What are those things that a therapy must or should do? So on top of FaceTime with clients, there is behind the scenes work to keep everything running smooth and above board. So one of the responsibilities of a therapist is to create and tweak plans. That is creating and tweaking plans, creating a safe space and keeping secrets, teaming up and sending folks elsewhere. So now let's pick it one after the other. Creating and tweaking plans. We have using what they learn from assessments. They map out personal goals and steps, often teaming up with the clients or family. And creating a safe space has to do with everything about therapy. Being a therapist revolves around support and trust. Trust is everything. So they try to build a judgment-free zone. They follow strict rules from groups like the APA guiding privacy, and steering clear of mixed up relationship like being friends outside therapy. So the next one is teaming up and sending folks as well. No one works alone. They collaborate with docs, social workers, or other for well-rounded care. Now we're moving on to the the do's and don'ts in mental health management. So this is key do's in mental health management. So that is the necessary do's. What a therapy should do. What is expected from a therapy to do. A good therapy to do in mental health management. So and under that we have that incorporate these positive habits. A therapist should incorporate these positive habits to build a strong foundation for emotional and psychological well-being. One of these do's is to make self-care a priority, to stay connected, to try and be mindfulness and chill out risks. So to making self-care a priority, that is, we try to do the basics every day to feel good inside and outside. And outside, like moving your body for at least half an hour, chewing down on healthy food, drinking plenty of water, and getting solid short eye. That is, you try to prioritize your care, your mental health, not only mental health but self-care. You prioritize that. A good therapy should do that, because you serve as a role model to your clients. They will actually see what you are preaching. They want to see what you are preaching in you. So now we have the second one is to stay connected. And in doing this, you try to hang out with family, with buddies, or join groups where you can share what's going on. And the next one is to try mindfulness and chill out tricks. And by doing this, you focus on the now with things like meditating, taking deep breaths, or jotting down thoughts in a journal. And then we'll be moving on to the next subtopic, which is the don'ts, the key don'ts in mental health. What are those things that we don't expect or we don't want to see from a therapist or in mental health management? So one, we have don't brush off how you feel. Your feeling is very essential and important. Do not lean too hard or on tech for friends. And don't turn to booze or stuff to cope. So let's pick it one after the other. We have don't brush off how you feel. Or you can't just ignore how you feel. Ignoring sadness or even nerves or tiredness, just let it build up. So face your feelings head on instead of acting like they are no big deal. Whatever you are going through, the kind of any feeling that you are going through, you make sure that you are there strictly to and you take to it. Don't treat your body like there's nothing that can actually happen. A lot can really happen. So don't brush off how you feel. Your feeling is very important in the job. So now we have the second one is don't lean too hard on tech for friends. Social media is okay sometimes, but don't let it replace real FaceTime. It can make you feel more alone. Cut back on screens, especially at night, to save your sleep. And the next one is don't turn to booze or stuff to cope. Skipping the self-medication with drinks, drugs, or too much coffee is key. They mess with your moods and can hook you or wreck your rest. So that in conclusion, building a career as a mental health therapist is a journey, a long journey of profound impact that requires a blend of empathy, skills, and dedication to helping others navigate life's complexities, just like we have been saying